Venerable Sir.
Hello, Venerable Sir.
Yes, hello everybody. So, you can start meditation. Please make sure that your camera is well adjusted so that I can see your hands, your legs, and your face.
Recording in progress.
Can you just adjust my camera?
Okay. So I think if Marinda can keep her camera a little bit further, that would be great. Gemma needs to keep her camera further, and I think she also is sitting wrong. So can you please, Gemma, can you somehow keep your camera a little bit further than you are? Okay, that's better. And when we sit in meditation, the way you're sitting is called the Taylor's posture. It's not the posture we are using. We use Taylor's posture for talking, for writing, for eating, but for meditation we need to use a different posture. So ideally you would keep one foot in front of yourself and the other foot right in front of it, so that you do not keep your leg on any part of the foot. Alright, but is that comfortable? I think you may like to take a cushion under you. You know what I mean? You can take a cushion and you can sit on the cushion. You need to have your knees on the floor, that's why. Okay, that looks better. How did you do it before? But are you sure you don't need a cushion? You can have it. It's good. I cannot hear you. But if you would like to take a cushion, it's perfectly good.
Pardon? I think I'm good.
You think you can do it? Alright. So let's see. Let's try it out. I'm missing Peep Shujo. Is Peep Shujo coming?
No, I don't think he's coming.
You don't think he's coming?
Yeah,
Alright.
last week also he didn't show up, so I don't know this week.
Okay. Can Tusha only arrange her camera so that I see her face as well? I think you will have to push the camera a little bit further from you.
My laptop's currently charging and the charger cord will not go any further.
Okay, that's fine. Alright. Diha, how would you sit during meditation? This is definitely not okay. Do you have painful leg or something?
Yeah, it's more like just knee can't bend it.
Okay, whatever. If it's pain, then it's no problem. Alright. Seems good. So as we are sitting in a comfortable meditation posture, make sure your back is erect, side cast down. And we can make the first determination in our minds voicelessly from now on. For 15 minutes I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on for 15 minutes I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. From now on for 15 minutes I will meditate on muscles and radiate loving kindness without any movement. And with that determination, we can gently, lovingly notice the flat piece of flesh at the top of the head. We allow it to be heavy and changing. We continue to the forehead. There's a muscle, we can notice it's tense or relaxed, but we are interested in its heaviness and change. We just accept them. We don't have to do anything at all. If you don't feel those parts, it's perfectly okay as well. We're just accepting the reality as it is. And we continue in this manner to the eyes, nose, lips, chin, cheeks, ears, back of the head, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the head to be heavy and changing. Continue to the buttocks. Well, let's continue at the neck, shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, palms, fingers, tips of fingers, chest, abdomen, back, and we allow all of the muscles and flesh throughout the upper part of the body to be heavy. Continue to the buttocks, thighs, knees, calves, heels, soles, toes, tips of toes, muscles and flesh throughout the body to be heavy and changing. steadiness. We can consider the impermanence and unreliability in the other parts of the body, the skin, bones, kidneys, heart, liver, spleen, lungs, intestines, brain, blood, sweat, phlegm, fat, and we allow all of the parts of this body to be heavy, to be changing, impermanent and unreliable. Now let's look at the mind and see if there are any thoughts. We allow all thoughts to be there, but we are curious about their condition. What's the reason that a thought is there right now in the mind? It may be attachment, expectations, worry, views. Whatever it is, we are curious about that condition and we are mindful of that condition itself, not the contents of the thought. accept impermanence and unreliability in the mind and the body, the deeper peace we can achieve. Let's look at the peace we have right now. Sometimes it is difficult to achieve peace. In that case, we compare our case to another one who is not as peaceful as us. For example, we consider, is someone beating me with a metal stick over my head right now? Or is anyone insulting me by vulgar words at this moment? Or am I now boiled in a cauldron of boiling water? Probably not. If I'm not, if that doesn't happen, then I need to be happy because I am pretty well off. And that is peace. It's a seed of peace, it's just relative. Not standalone peace yet, but it's a good start. And then observe the mind. Now we will be observing our mind to see what is this present peace. The more we are mindful, the more we are curious about this peace, the faster and stronger it will grow. Let's share that peace with other living beings. We can start in the room where we are now. In our minds, voicelessly, we can wish. We don't force, we don't expect. We just wish, we allow. May all beings in this room be in peace. May all beings in this room be in peace. Gradually share and spread our loving kindness. May all beings in this building be in peace. May all beings in this city or village be in peace. This country be in peace. continent be in peace. Including me, be in peace. Now, because the time for this sitting is finished, we will make the last determination in our minds wisely. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. From now on, I will always be mindful and shine with loving kindness. And with that determination, we can slowly, mindfully change the way of our sitting. Before you return to your device, stay where you are, and let's take one more minute to enjoy the peace we gained in meditation as we observe the mind in the present moment. Can you hear me, everybody? Okay.
Yes.
So let's start our recitation. So you can unmute everyone. Alright. You can keep your hands together at the chest. So first I will say Amahang vadami tang vadeta, which means what I say you say, and then you can reply Ama bhante. So let's try that together. Yamahang vadami tang vadeta. Very well. Now you can repeat after me. You are going to take you are going to request me to give you the 3 refuges and the 5 precepts. Aham bhante. Tisaranena saha. Pañcasīlaṇ. Dhammang yājāmi. Anuggahang katvā. Sīlaṃ deta me bhante. Anukampaṃ upādāya. Dutiyampi. Aham bhante. Tisaranena saha. Pañcasīlaṃ dhammang yājāmi. Anuggahang katvā. Sīlaṃ deta me bhante. Anukampaṃ upādāya. Tatiyampi aham bhante. Tisaranena saha. Pañcasīlaṃ dhammang yājāmi. Anuggahang katvā. Sīlaṃ deta me bhante. Anukampaṃ upādāya. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So now you're going to take the 3 refuges. Always remember you're taking the 3 refuges to remind you of who is the ultimate teacher, who is the ultimate guide for you to achieve happiness, peace, success in this life and in the next life. So they're just reminding you, hey, if you have a problem, here you will find a solution. So you can repeat after me. Buddhaṃ saranang gacchāmi. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Saranaгаmanang paripunnang. Very well. So now come the 5 precepts. The first precept means I follow the rule of refraining from killing living beings. Panatipata. Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana. Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. That means I follow the rule of refraining from taking what is not given, from stealing. Now, the third precept means I follow the rule of refraining from sexual misconduct. Kame sumichhachara. Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. The fourth rule means I follow the rule of refraining from false speech, from telling lies. Musavada. So let's try again. Musavada. Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. The fifth precept means I follow the rule of refraining from drinking alcohol and taking drugs. Sura meraya majja. Pamadatthana. Veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. So now I will encourage you everyone to follow the 5 precepts, to protect the 3 refuges, and to be mindful. If you're mindful, you can notice you're going to break the 5 precepts before you break it, so that you never break them. And then you can agree saying ama bhante. So let's try that together. Tisaraṇena saddhiṃ pañcasīlaṃ dhammang sadhukang surakkhitāṃ katva appamadena sampadetha. So now I will wish you to be happy, healthy, and so on, and you can then reply sadhu, 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 which means well said. So let's try that together as well. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana. Very well. Alright, So I have here written that we are supposed to start at 5:45. Is that right? Do you have it also in your calendar, Mameji?
Yeah,
You have
8:45 our time.
Yes, then of course you have your different time. So it's 45, and do you think it would be okay to call me by Zoom by the time? Are you available at the time to call me and we can start right away?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
sorry about it. I was a little bit running late, so.
Yeah, that's no problem. I've just noticed that we are having it like this for a long time. I mean, starting a little bit later. I would like to ask here, anyone, do you have any difficulties to come exactly at that time? No one has any difficulties like that? Okay. Yes, if Mameji calls me, then it's very easy for me to switch. So if we can have it like that. But at the same time, I asked Mameji to not to call me if you're not complete. So that's why some of you sometimes have to wait, because Mameji believes that some more of you will come. So if everyone comes on time, there's a high chance that no one will have to wait. Alright, so let's try that and we will see if it works. Maybe it won't. Let's try. Okay, so last week we went through a Dhammapada story, but we couldn't go through the book. Today I would like to go through the book, and then maybe next week we can go through the Dhammapada story and the book as well. So let's try and we will see. Alright, so now the book. Is there anyone who doesn't have the book yet? Vishonli, do you have the book at least in electronic version?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now could you read the introduction and the first chapter?
Let me try to find it first. I have to read the entire thing.
What do you mean by entire thing?
Like the entire introduction.
The entire introduction. Okay. The introduction is just a few pages. Okay, and did you try to read the first lecture? The first chapter?
I read the introduction. I haven't read the chapters yet.
Okay. So has anyone else has not read the first chapter? If you have not read the first chapter, please raise your hand. Your Zoom hand, please. Whenever I want you to raise your Zoom hand, I want you to be modern. So raise your Zoom hand, please. Okay. Anyone else has not yet read the chapter 1? Okay. Now, out of those who have read the introduction, please remove your hand. So you will have only those who have not read anything. Okay. So Melanie, did you get the book? You have the book? Okay. But did you read the introduction?
No, Venerable Sir, I have not read the introduction.
Okay, funny. What about Marinda?
I haven't yet.
You haven't read it yet. And Mrs. Peggy Tong?
Yes, I did read it quite some time ago. And earlier I was going through if I highlight it, and it seems like I didn't highlight very much because to me it was quite intuitive.
It was
having gone
yes.
to raise 2 kids and grandkids, that the 2 things that stood out was what some of these teens may have been raised with Daniel Tiger. I don't know if they have watched Daniel Tiger. As I had my grandkids tell me what did Daniel Tiger say, and it says, when you feel so mad that you want to roar, take a deep breath and count to 4. She mentioned about counting to 10. That was one point. And so we don't yell at the teenagers without controlling our own temper. And then she also said, stay involved and do not ridicule, judgmental, or disapproving. And then what I found and want to point out, at the end of the introduction, she said something about her 2 sons, what they are now, how they developed from those teenage years that give us some trouble, and where they are now. They're big shots, and to me, that's, for the parents, it is good that to know that if you can survive through the teenage years, the kids will turn out well. So play it cool. That's my conclusion. I didn't highlight anything else.
Yes. Later, she will be talking about pretty deep science. So I think not only that you may then highlight more things, but you may even have difficulties to understand. Even the way how she made one graph later at a later chapter. The graph was strange, and I asked my friend scientist in the UK to explain to me why is this graph written like this and how should I understand it, because it didn't make much sense, and she also had difficulties to understand the graph. So it becomes later more and more difficult, probably expecting you all to be neuroscientists. So get ready for that. Okay, thank you very much. So, Melanie, do you think you would be able to read at least to read the introduction and plus the first lecture until next week? Next week, it's your Friday, right? Next week, Friday evening, until our next class.
What page is the introduction?
Yeah, introduction is exactly 4. Well, it's a little bit over 4 pages. It is called. So that's not introduction, right? I see. Introduction is a little bit longer. No, that was references. So introduction is about 9 pages altogether. So it's about 9 pages, or 10 pages, you could say, 9.5. It's called Introduction Being Teen. You see that?
I found it.
Being Teen, yes, it's about 9 pages, and then chapter 1 is 7 pages long.
I found chapter 1.
Yes, you found chapter 1. I tell you the number of pages based on my hacked PDF, because I have a special system how to hack PDFs from the Kindle books when they come from Amazon. So then I can easily read them the way I want. I like to highlight, I like to write in, I like to make comments, I like to copy paste into my notes. So it's not possible for me to use their Kindle app, and that's why my pages are definitely different from yours. Anyway, I would like to know if there is anyone who thinks you will not be able to read the book until the end of chapter 1, by Friday next week, by our next class? Is there anyone who is sure you cannot do that? You cannot read all the way until the end of the first lecture by Friday next week? No one? Melanie? Do you think you can do that? Do you think you can read introduction first lecture by that time? Yes, so you can.
I am capable.
You can remove. Yes, that's all good. You can remove your Zoom hand. Thank you very much. All right. So now what's coming is the introduction. So I will ask you, everyone, to read for me one single note from the introduction. It can be a sentence, it can be portion of the paragraph. When you write notes and you have, let's say, a large paragraph and you really love that paragraph, you think, oh, this paragraph is just so amazing, I need to have it in my notes, then please write it in your own words so that it is shorter anyway. Okay? And then you always write first the page number where you found that thing, and then you copy it. I will show you my notes so that you see how I have it. Melanie, I think now you can mute yourself. So let's get that. Alright, so I use Evernote for that. Maybe some of you have Evernote, maybe some of you don't. Evernote is free if you use it on a single device or on maximum 2 devices, and if you don't upload too much. I personally, most of the time, just write text, so I don't need uploading. But sometimes I need my, how to say that, my assistants, my workers, whatever way you call it, my employees, I need them to use Evernote for me, and it needs to be my account, so that's why I have the purchase version. But you definitely do not need that. You can use the free version. I will send you the link for that in the chat box. What I would, however, like to suggest to you now, what I'm sending to you is the download of the modern version, but perhaps you could notice that I'm using Evernote Legacy. Evernote Legacy means that it's an old version that always works, and I personally do not like to use software which doesn't work. Well, then if there is a software that works, then I like to use it. Something that the developers don't like to understand. Anyway, so this legacy version is equally free or paid, and you can use it. I personally love it because it does what I want, and it does exactly and everything what I want, and I'm just immensely happy about it. And therefore I always recommend to use only this one and none other. Yes, found it. So it has a version for both Windows and Mac. It actually has version for phone as well, and a browser as well. So you may like to create an account there and start to learn how to use this. This is a wonderful piece of software. You can, if you go to File and then New Notebook, you can create a new notebook. and in that new notebook you can create your notes. Alright, so before you start to make a note, I suggest you that you go to File, New Notebook, and you create a new notebook. And then you will have here tiny little icons, or you can actually extend them. I forgot how you do that, because I never do that. Then you click on this little thing, and then you suddenly will see your notebooks that you have created, if you have created any. So I've been using Evernote for quite some time, I think maybe 5 years. So I have there quite a few notes, and it's wonderful if you have all your knowledge in one place. Then when you search it, you just find it. I have there also my notes from the university when I studied undergraduate program of psychology and calculus, which I passed, I believe, thanks to Evernote as well. I did study university long time ago in Sri Lanka. I got my BA degree with 6 A's, but I feel that's not enough. I want to get more knowledge. So, for example, these are my notes from psychology, from the psychology course, and so I have them. I have each note for one lecture, and there I can use pictures as well. You can use basically anything you want. You can even make recordings, you can add links, you can insert photos, insert Google Drive links, or attach files. You can even add whole PDF document and just read that PDF document in the embedded PDF reader. But I don't find that very neat. I like just text and pictures, at least for the time being. So how do I write notes? So I'll show you my notes from the book that we are reading, so that you see that it is possible. Okay, so these are my notes. They have two main portions. One portion are words that I don't know and that I want to know. So I note them first by star, space, and then I write whatever is the meaning, so that later if I need to find them, I will easily find them. Or I can then insert them into a different application where I can learn vocabulary if I want to, but I don't have time for that, so it usually stays here. Anyway, then comes the first lecture. So I just write the name of the first lecture. You see, I didn't write any notes actually from the introduction at all. And from the first chapter, we get some notes over here. These are all things that I find interesting, but I still highlight the most interesting things. So basically making notes of my notes. I'm highlighting that what I like among my notes, because I write too many notes. So sometimes I take pictures as well, and if I think something is really interesting, then I just highlight that. It's fairly intuitive, because you just select the text and press on the highlight button and it's highlighted. How did it happen that I have so much text over here? I do not retype it. It's all, these are all quotes, or most of that are quotes from the book. I do not retype it. Because I hacked it into a PDF, then I just select it in the viewer, you know, in the reader software, and I just copy paste it into my notes. But it's the same thing when I cannot do it due to some technical issues in a certain browser. When the book is available only in the browser, then I type it up. So in the end, it's just the same thing. Okay, but what I wanted to especially show is the page number. So as you can see, hopefully, I use I write first the page number, and then I write the note. So if I want to know the context of that note, then I just follow that page number in the book, so that I can read the remaining text if I want to. But the idea is that all your quotes are as big and as clear, that so that you can use them without using the original book. So I personally do not expect me to use the original book. I use these page numbers only for someone else who could receive my quote, because sometimes I send people quotes when they don't believe me, and then they can see the source of the information that I'm sharing with them. So it's really powerful, because then no one can argue with you. If they want to argue, then they have to argue with the source where you got your information from. This is very powerful. It doesn't make any sense to argue with you if your information is not what you found out. This is what you've heard. How can anyone argue about something you've heard if their argument is also what they have heard? Useless, totally useless argument, you know? There are people who believe that 5G, do you know what's 5G? That's the new, level of internet connection. That 5G spreads COVID. That COVID spreads because of 5G, or that Bill Gates invented 5G. That he invented COVID, and that kind of nonsense. Where is your source? They need to provide source. There's no need to argue about these things. Life is precious. Time is precious. We don't need to waste it by nonsensical arguments. And that's why it's so essential that you always write notes and the reference where they are coming from. All right, so this is, for me, this is of course immensely important, because among other monks, we are not supposed to argue with monks. We are supposed to provide the citation, not only where it is, but exactly how it is in the Pali language. And that's how I learned to be a monk. So I always must know the Pali language, the Pali text, and exactly the book where it is, and the chapter and the subchapter and the sub-subchapter where you will find it. So that's how I learned it. For a long time, I actually learned all the references and all the citations also with page numbers. I would know it by mind, by memory. So if someone was talking to me and they would say, the Buddha said this and that, and I would say, no, because in this book, in that chapter, subchapter, sub-subchapter, in that page number is written this and this and that. All right? So this is how scholars work. Scholars need always they need to know the reference. That's also how you get Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is supposed to be used by scholars. All right. So this is about the notes. Okay, so I myself do not have any note from the introduction, as you have noticed, but I have a lot of notes from the other chapters. However, I would like to know, then later I have a lot of notes from every single chapter. But anyway, I would like to know if anyone here has any notes from the introduction, apart from Peggy Tong, who's already told us. Oh, Mao, do you have any notes from the introduction? Yes. Can you please read it for us?
I have one sentence. I got it on page 4. Teens want to be different because of the surging hormones.
Nice. Thank you very much. Diha?
I don't have the actual page numbers since I wrote these before you gave the guidelines just now. But one of the notes I have is because research is so focused on brain development in infants and adults rather than adolescents, understanding is often lacking and neglected.
Yes, very well. Thank you. Anyone else has notes from the introduction? Yes, Sandy?
I also don't have the page numbers, but one of the notes I got from the introduction was the best way parents can guide teens is through advice, explanation, and by being a role model.
I don't want anyone to read the page number for me, please. But please write it down for yourself, so that later if you need to use the note and you want the context, because it sometimes happens to me that I read something in a book, I read something in a different book, and the things, because I remember what I read in the previous book, of course not everything, the thing that I read in the previous book is similar to that thing what I'm reading now, but there is a very important difference, or it is the opposite. So then
I need to look at the reference in that previous book, and I want to find out the context to make sure or to understand why did this author write something else or opposite to this author. Why is that? You cannot have two opposite things at the same time. For example, you cannot have the information that, for example, that an atom is indivisible, and then somewhere else you read that atom is divisible. You cannot have it at the same time. But if you wrote it properly, then you will find out that in the book where it was written that atom is indivisible, it is just etymology of a word that comes from ancient times. Whereas in the new book where you read that atom is divisible, it is an explanation of what the word means today based on modern physics. So then you can understand, aha, that's why atom is indivisible, because that's the original etymology, that's the original meaning of the word. So atom indeed is indivisible, but that's the word meaning, the original meaning of the word, not what it means today. So it is very good to have to have the page numbers for everything that you write, and then you can find out the context, and you can make sure that you understand both of the authors. Commonly, when you think that two authors have an opposing view, they actually do not have opposing view. They just look at the thing from different angle. You look at the word atom from the angle of linguistics, then you get a different thing than when you look at the word atom from the angle of physics. You get something else. So it's good to understand each person's angle, the context, and thereby understand why this author is right and that author is also right. Then when you are arguing with someone has an idea, you know that it's a nonsense, but you know where their idea is coming from. So you can explain to them, your idea is coming from there and there. And therefore it is limited to these and these boundaries. What I am saying is outside those boundaries. It's a different point of angle. And if that person has any intelligence power, many people don't, and many people don't think they need. But if that person has any intelligence power, then they will very probably accept your argument. So when we are talking, when we are debating, we want to find the truth. If you don't know the truth, well, then you may make unnecessary mistakes and lose your time. And again, time is precious. So we want to be always right. We never want to be wrong. This will never happen. We will always make mistakes, but we do our best. And one way how to do our best is to write down notes. Nicely note the page number. Of course, at the top you need to have your book name. And you may, what I do, I actually have 2 sets of notebooks for my notes. The same note very often appears in 2 different places. You could resolve this by tags, but I do not like tags. I feel that tags just have you untidy, that you just don't have tidy things. So I don't like tags very much. I use them for special purposes, but I do not like tags so much. Maybe after 20 years I will like them, not yet. So what I do is I have notes from a book. I will write down the notes from a book. Okay, page number, note, that's so nice. And then after I have finished the book, or if it has big chapters, then after I have finished a chapter, then I will open that and I will copy these notes into a different notebook where my notes are sorted by topic, not by books. So I'll show that to you. So for example, I get a lot of information from Buddhist books. So I have here a notebook called a Dhamma Notes, in brackets, books. Okay, so there I have books about Dhamma that I have read, and for each book you have notes. Alright, and then I take those notes and then I copy those notes into another notebook called Dhamma Notes, mine. And there I sort them by a topic. So you may like to take these notes as into a notebook that's related to that is sorted by the book name, and then you can sort those notes again to have them sorted by the topic that you are interested in. So then now if I want to know about monks' rules, or something specific about monks' rules, or about the Buddha, or about certain monks and so on, then I know exactly where to find it, even though I don't know any word that is actually included in the story. So I remember the story, but I don't remember the words from that story. So I don't know how to search it. I cannot search it by a word. But I have it sorted by the topics. So I know, okay, that was a story of a monk who became an arahant. Alright, so then I go to the chapter, to the section where I have collected my notes of monks who became arahants, and then I can search it there, even though I don't remember any word from that story. But I remember that it is some very interesting story about an arahant, and I have like some imagination, you know, of the forest and this monk. He was walking in the forest, and suddenly he saw something, and something then happened. But I don't remember any word from that story. Okay, so, or I'm not sure about those words. I'm not sure whether he saw a squirrel, or he saw a cow, or he saw a pig. I don't know. So I cannot search it by that, or if I search, it would take too long time. So it's useful to have notes in. So in my case, I have notes categorized based on the source, and then categorized according to the topic. Okay, does anyone have any questions about writing notes? Yes, Melanie?
What is the Viber group called?
Uh-huh. You're not in the Viber group? Are you included in our Viber group?
Oh, I remember my parents saying they had the Viber group, but I don't have it personally, so I always like to add it to my phone.
Uh-huh. So you cannot add it. Someone needs to know you and add you there. So if you tell me your Viber number, then I can add you there.
I have to download Viber first.
Yes, your Viber will have the same number as is your phone. So if you tell me your phone, I can add you there.
Can I write my phone number in the chat?
Okay, you can. All right. Any more question? Any about anything at all? Does anyone already use Evernote? No one has ever been using Evernote over here? How do I use Melanie's number if I'm in the Czech Republic? Should I add +1 and then the number? Yes?
Yeah.
So let me try that. Oh, Melanie did not install Viber yet, so I will have to wait for that. But for everyone, if anyone wants to contact me, I will write for you my number, my Viber number. Anyone here can contact me anytime you like. There is no restriction, no limits, no boundaries, nothing. You can just tell me whatever you want. If you ever have any difficulty and you want to tell it privately, then I'm most happy to support. I support many people in various ways, and I will be most happy to support you, anyone, or to just listen. No problem at all. Okay, so I think for today it was more than enough. Hopefully everyone will read at least not at least, both the introduction and the first chapter. If you haven't read the introduction, please get through. I think this book is very, very interesting. It provides a lot of information, not just for adolescents, but also for adults. And as you go further and further, you will find out there's a pretty deep account on how the mind works and how the brain works. So I'm sure this book may be useful not just during your teenage years, but also throughout your life. Okay, so thank you everyone for coming. May you be happy, may you be healthy, and may you soon attain the eternal bliss of Nibbana.
Alright, this is at the end of the session. So everyone please unmute your microphone and then let's greet tisaraṇa. Thank you. Goodbye, Refuges.
Thank you, and goodbye, Grandma.
Thank you.